Welcome to a Neon topic discussion, our show where we break down the biggest topics in games. We talk about what's happening in the games industry or games media. We usually keep it a little shorter, tighter. I'm here with some excellent co-hosts tonight. We have Jacob, aka OMGzus.
Aloha.
Aloha. And then we have Steven, the singer bro, with us over in the far right corner.
Hot boy summer.
Yeah.
That's hot.
So yeah, we do different topics. Sometimes we've done things about specific games like Destiny. We've talked about broader strokes like corporate consolidation and how lame it is. But today, what's on everyone's mind is the Summer Games Fest, Summer Game Mess, Summer Games Week, not E3, E3, Key 3. There's so many names. We really need to figure it out. But we have seen many games over the past several days, give or take 10 days. There may be a Nintendo Direct coming up. We might have to do this again. But yeah, good times. It's been fun to see all these different showcases. So tonight, we are going to bring you a selection of games that we have seen from the showcases over the past few days and reasons why we think you might want to keep an eye on them and why they're certainly in our purview. So without further ado, let's start it out. But first, I kind of want to just get a brief idea about how we felt about this summer's showings. And obviously we could have some Nintendo coming up. There might be some other little surprise whatnots. But in general, over the Summer Games Fest, Xbox, Ubisoft, PlayStation State of Play, and then all the little mini indie guerrilla guys and all that kind of stuff. How are we feeling? I'll go to Jacob first.
Xbox killed it. Summer Game Fest was like cool. There was some cool games in there. I'm going to talk about one of them. There was a lot of indie showcase to watch, which I did it in one day, watching them like simultaneously, like two at a time. It was fucking crazy to go through that many games. I cannot believe how many indies there are, and a lot of them are looking great, which I'm excited. It's just like, man, it is just overwhelming. Those particular smaller ones, but can't forget about Devolver Digital. That was sick too. And then Ubisoft Forward, they had some really cool stuff to show with, X Defiant, Skull and Bones, but damn, they had some other cool stuff, which we'll also talk about. But I think overall, I had a fun weekend, and currently we're going forward with Steam Next Fest, which isn't really part of it, but it's just a great time of the year.
Hell yeah. Steven, what about you? Where are you feeling at the end of this at least initial run of the Summer Games broadcasts?
Yeah, so my big like through take, however you want, my big angle on this was like I really appreciated the focus on indies and just how much of an importance they hold for the industry now. And how, especially with Summer Game Fest, it was put at the forefront. And we alternated big ass game, indie game, big ass game, indie game. Really loved that. I think the fact that they stand on the same stage as like Call of Duty as the bigger hitters is very important. And he said so as much, and obviously like support indies, right? Like they were saying, they are the backbone of the industry in my opinion. So, but yeah, I think especially with all these like, this doom and gloom from the industry lately with these big corporations just wanting more profit margins and yada yada. It's nice to see like, hey, here's a game made by one person, Velatro, that did fucking amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, and by the way, here's this new thing, and here's it's like awesome. I'm glad they're doing that. And obviously, overall, the showcases, just I'm happier this year than I was last year. I will say so.
Totally. Piggybacking off that, I think, yeah, I was appreciative of everyone learning, I think, more about pacing this year. I think, like, pandemic time, everyone to doing these kind of digital spaces, taking the Nintendo Direct route or whatever. And even though, like, Ubisoft did it live and stuff, I still felt like, even though they had a couple pacing issues, like, for the most part, people seemed to learn how to move through stuff. And the showings, I thought, in general, were better, especially at Xbox, but the Guerrilla Collective, too, like, showing something, giving some information, and then maybe going into a little bit deeper, but not like, I don't know, this wasn't dev, and then doing dev directs later, like even things like the Xbox Wire podcast that were happening later in the week, or showing the Dragon Age like initial like teaser and then doing gameplay later in the week, and like and then that same sort of thing with like the indie games, and then some of those are featured in Steam Next Fest, even though it's not necessarily collaborative, but like you get a lot of the information if you care about that thing and you can go to that thing specifically, but they just show you the initial like, hey, here's why you should care about it during the showcase. I just thought it was overall everyone did a lot better. And then yeah, like you guys were saying, I really commend especially Jeff Keighley for, you know, maybe not going in as hard as he possibly could on discussing the problems that have been you know, rampaging through the industry lately. But I think if there's one thing he's going to do that's going to maintain like a positive, here's why I do a big, you know, money making showcase type of advertisement thing, like he's at least him putting those indie games alongside those other games was really cool. So yeah, I think overall there was a ton of fun games and we had a ton of fun watching all of it. So anything else you guys want to say about that before we move on to the games that we are talking about?
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I do want to say you're talking about pacing, and I know that I just want to make a comment really quick on the PC gaming show, whatever it's called, because you know that's a magazine. They had their 10-year anniversary showcase, and it was so bloated. Like,
oh gosh, I didn't watch that one.
It was like it felt like overwritten. Like there's a lot of jokes and like segments that the hosts were doing and stuff. And like the normal like lady that's there couldn't be there because she was pregnant, so they kept cutting to like just her on a couch, like just pregnant on a couch, like, hey guys, sorry I can't be there, or like, hey guys, let me make a joke. And then it's just like it was cringe wall to wall, like essentially. So
ooh, brutal.
I know that they're British and British people can't help it, but like just have to shout that out, that sitting there and going through all those smaller, you know, or indie showcases, that was the one that made me cringe the most. So there you go.
Yeah, I admit that's the one that didn't hit my radar. I thought Guerrilla Collective was pretty good. While they did show some longer showings, I thought they moved through it pretty quickly and didn't like spend too long with devs or stuff like that. And then Day of the Devs was also like they had a couple of big long deep dives. But even so, like they didn't overstay their welcome for a lot of it. So yeah.
Yep.
But yeah,
that's all
PC's gonna PC.
What are you trying to say? Shut up.
Right? It's just overcomplicating things like PC does.
Yeah, that I can agree with.
You're picking up what you're putting down. Steven, you want to start us off?
Yeah. So why don't you break it down for people, like what we're gonna do here?
Yeah.
Sure. So I tasked us with all picking 3 games from any showcase, but we are going to do a separate video that is really highlighting the indies, as we were talking about earlier. We want to put indies up and really make sure that we're shining a light on those beautiful and unique and in you know, interesting games. Not to say that these games aren't worthy as well, but we're going to go through the ones from the showcase. So the Xbox showcase, the Ubisoft showcase, PlayStation State of Play, if you like that, and then Summer Games Fest as well. But yeah, we're just going to go through and kind of tell you a little bit about the game, what our impression was of it, and why you should check it out, I guess. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just get into it.
Please.
My first game, and we kind of did like different ones from each other, but it's Fable.
Hell yeah.
Now, you know, this is more still of a tone piece. We did see some, I think, gameplay, right?
Yeah,
like walking through, and like there was no HUD, but like you could tell it was more finished than it was before. So nice to see it again. They're carrying forward that like dark humor thing, which I fucking love.
Felt like what we do in the shadows or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm hoping is going to be the case. Interesting thing here about this is I didn't know this until I guess looking up like when we were doing the run of the shows. Deus Ex developers Eidos Montreal are collaborating with Playground Games, right?
Oh.
So hopefully they've got some of that writing pedigree that's really gonna make these characters come to life, like in Deus Ex, right? So, really excited for this. Obviously, the humor is there. I want to see more combat and quest design, right? That's kind of what I want to see. Like, what am I doing in the world? Maybe we'll get closer, like maybe next year, right? We'll see some stuff, but a good showing for Fable. So, Yeah, I mean, did you guys I guess quick comment on that?
Yeah,
I think this really, especially compared to last year, I think this really I mean, I was actually stoked on what we saw last year, but seeing stuff like that, like behind the shoulder, and some of the attack moves and things like that were happening.
yeah.
I think this kind of put people's fears to rest, and then just this game is just really looking gorgeous. I mean, so many games
Yes.
from the Xbox show were looking next gen.
Yeah, you can, I mean, say what you want. I mean, I think people are like, is this in game? Is this CG? Like, this is clearly the game. You're seeing the game.
Yeah, that's game. Yeah.
All of this and like the lighting and just the animation, I think what we're seeing is in like 30 frames, but it is looking great to me. I could play it in 30 frames to make it look this amazing. Unreal Engine 5 and the ilk are just starting to come together and coalesce to all these new games. And I mean, it started with Hellblade 2. I played a bit of that. I need to beat that, of course, but it looks incredible. And I think going forward, video games will start to look like that and look more realistic and insane. And just what we're seeing here is just blows me away. But like you guys said, vibes, humor, it's all there. And then, of course, one day we're going to get that Fable sit down, tell us everything, tell us how it plays. Here's a quest or whatever, like they did with Avowed recently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So are we alternating? Sorry, I didn't know if you wanted to
Actually,
next
that's a good
game?
idea. Let's do that. Let's go
Yeah.
let's go one by one. I like that. All right. Well, then my first game of the show was from Compulsion Games, South of Midnight, an utterly new setting for a classic game formula. This is a third-person action game, and it just looks like some whole other stuff for me. I just absolutely love the setting of this game, the sort of stop motiony animation, just tapping into lore of Southern folklore, and lore of the Deep South. I just think that's such an untapped resource in media in general, but then especially in video games, and the whimsy that this had, along with the art style, and then the gameplay especially. I mean, from Compulsion Games, who did We Happy Few, if you don't know, that was a first person kind of subdued melee focused game. It didn't really have a lot to boast gameplay wise. Bioshocky sort of. But this is really looking like the combat is amazing. The abilities and the traversal looks amazing. It reminds me of something you'd see like Sunset Overdrive or Spider-Man or something like that. You know what I mean? Which I did not expect to see from this game. Mm-hmm. And then reading a little bit about it, they are working on kind of leading you through these levels with things like that alligator looming. Obviously we could probably predict that maybe that alligator would be a boss fight later on, but the idea, his name is Two-Toed Tom, I guess, and he's a blind albino alligator the size of an island, and it says that he's going to kind of haunt your playthrough of this part of the world. So this demo was about a third of the way through the game, and the idea is that as you move forward, he's going to be kind of this looming threat. And then they didn't say it verbatim, but the idea is probably he'll be a boss at the end of it.
Yeah.
But interesting stuff. Her powers are called weaving. It's tapping into the fabric of the universe, and it has to do with some more Deep South lore, Santeria, voodoo kind of stuff, but with a more positive life than we often think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to just comment on real quick is
Please.
I think the cutscenes are animated on the B frames, right?
Yeah, totally.
But everything else just seems like a smooth experience. Right here, it doesn't. The attacks and animations are somewhat that way, but I noticed the motion is still
that's
like you would expect 60, right?
That's what's trippy about it. It's like you are seeing 60 frames per second, but the animations themselves are on that 12 frame per second,
it's
beautiful. You guys are describing, which is really crazy, and it's so stylish. I mean, look at that. What we're seeing right now is insane. The combat looks like it'll be fun, but the world itself.
Look how the terrain changed, dude.
Yeah,
sorry,
totally.
yeah.
This is just going on like what I was just saying with Fable. Like graphically, what we're seeing, it's unreal, man. Like this is like we used to think CG could look this good, and I don't even think it did for a while. You know, you know what I mean? It just blows me away.
And yeah, the abilities here, like flying through, being able to grapple to stuff that way, and like use your weaving powers that are apparently they are like those types of spells that you're seeing are going to all kind of weave between combat and puzzle solving and traversal, which is cool. So I hope it all comes together. And ultimately, like, you know, I just think this is a huge showing for Compulsion, and I'm just really excited to see how it comes down the line. So, and 2025 release date, also surprising to me because we saw it last year, but it was just a teaser, and so, you know, who knows? But it's as long as it hits, hopefully it will.
You assume a teaser, you're like, okay, you get your CG trailer, like this game has just started development, but it's coming next year. That means they've been working on this for a while, and there's your alligator, by the way.
Yeah, there's Tom, two-toed Tom.
Yeah, cool. Cool as hell.
So yeah, just oozing style. I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. And it's coming to Steam. You know, if you notice, a lot of these games are coming to Game Pass, but they're also coming to Steam, and you know, it's awesome to see that partnership between Microsoft and Steam. You know, because like PlayStation has been having these weird missteps with like the PSN stuff, and like it's just weird, and you hate to see it. Like I'm not a pundit. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, good for them. It's like I want to see everyone enjoy that. It's great that they're bringing games to Steam. But it's just like this is the fruits of the labor of the relationship Microsoft has got together with Steam for like over like I don't know how many years at this point.
A long time, yeah, yeah.
And so just having those options is really cool as a PC gamer. Just throwing that out there.
Totally, Microsoft seems to understand that they need to put their games where people are as opposed to walling them off.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What about your first game, Mr. Jacob?
So my first game, I like, you know, there's a lot of give me games, you know, out there. I could have picked, you know, I could have picked like pretty much anything from the Xbox showcase, or just a whole bunch of other stuff. But you guys know I'm a big strategy head. You know, I love my strategy games. And so and even though it's just a teaser, I just want to speculate a little and have some fun. So I want to talk about quickly Civilization 7. Also because no one gave any love to Summer Game Fest. Everybody said it's like a mid showing. I mean, sure it was a lot of indie titles, PC games, whatever, but like, dude, they announced Civilization 7? Like, what the fuck? Like, we're gonna
huge.
We're gonna pretend like this doesn't matter. Look, I love Kind of Funny, but the way that they like talked about this was a little frustrating because they're like, well, it's popular, but it's not really that big a deal. Like pretty much that's what they were
huge
going on about. But I'm just like, what you don't understand is that Civilization is one of the biggest gaming franchises out there. And it's like, I know it's no like 2K or it's no Call of Duty, but like, holy shit, like, is this not hype as hell for like all of us PC gamers? I mean, PC gamers have been playing Civilization since the 90s. And I've been playing it since the 2000s. You know what I mean?
There's gonna be people who like literally just make their entire living off just streaming this game for the next like 7 years.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, the complexities of playing a Civilization game. I mean, like 4X games are complex. And by the way, Aura History Untold, they did like a big reveal video for that recently too, which looks great. But I mean, like between that and all the RTSs we're getting, and now Civilization 7, like it is a great time to be a PC gamer who's into strategy, and I'm just really excited for this. So the way they innovated Civilization 6 is like the way you build stuff is you're selecting tiles outside of the city to build things. That was kind of their biggest innovation, rather than just having like one tile fitting all your wonders and stuff and just like having a cap on how many wonders you can fit into one city. Now it was like, you know, you can only build wonders if you put them on a tile. So that was kind of a big innovation. And usually with Civilization games, you get an expansion that like adds more content. What I would like to see with this game, and what I think they'll do, is number one, they'll make it like really interesting graphically. I think that they're going to innovate on the combat. I think they're going to innovate pretty much on everything. I don't think that they're going to release like a half-cooked game that's expansions are going to need to like really flesh out like we did with Civilization 6. I just see this as a massive announcement, and I just want to throw that out there. Like I'm very excited for it, and I think it's going to be great. honestly. Those are my thoughts.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think? You guys excited?
I always have a time when I spend some time with whatever Civ is out. I'm not that good at the game. I think me and Steven talked about this when we saw it live.
Yeah.
So I'll spend hours and hours playing a Civ campaign, and then I don't think I've ever won a single one. In fact, I know that I've never won a single one. So I need to figure out more about how to be a little more cutthroat about my objectives. But
just all you got to do is drop the difficulty by like 1 notch, and you'll notice that you'll win, and then you could kind of like figure out the game. But yeah,
there you go. That's a good call.
That is the thing about that.
But there is this corner of gaming that doesn't necessarily get light shined on it in such a way. It is probably a more PC focused corner, but I used to listen to the Idle Thumbs guys who were like the Campo Santo dudes, and they had a podcast for a long time. And it was great because they would always fill in the gaps of all the stuff that the mainstream games media wasn't talking about. And you just realize, like, this is just a big hobby we have, and it has so many nooks and crannies. So this is a good one. Good shout out.
Yeah, massively. And I just wanted to also say that there is a gameplay reveal in August. And then, like I said, we're going to get Aura History Untold and Age of Mythology in September. So, like, and there's a bunch of games coming out in August. So, like, when August rolls by, it's going to be Strategy City, dude. I mean, and we're going to really get to see like what this is, what this game even is.
Cool.
I'm just really excited.
Hell yeah, you should be. Steven, your next title.
So my second game is Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I was just put in the shadows, as you'll see. But this one looks really good. They had an incredible showing. Obviously, I feel like people had doubts about this. Like, are they going to bring the sauce? There's Ghost of Tsushima out there. It's not going to be as good. It's like, I don't think it's going for the same thing, right? Just by what I've seen, it's going to be a little more formatted, a little more. You're going to have the Ubisoft flavorings, but I hope they can pull back the reins just a little bit and let me experience the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me be able to turn off the HUD if I want. Give me customization in that is what I'm saying. And it kind of seems like they're doing a little bit of that. I didn't see a whole lot of like crazy HUD pop-ups or elements, just like basic stuff. And I think in their previous Assassin's Creed games, I guess correct me if I'm wrong, people in comments or whatever, you were able to turn off the HUD completely. So I just wish they could do it in a better way and maybe build the world in a way. That's my biggest hang up right now. But what I wanted to say was that the combat looked a little more visceral,
brutal,
and they had a lot more like unique animations per fight, which I thought was really cool because when you play 70 fucking plus hours of Valhalla, you're like, boy, I'm real tired of this same goddamn move happening.
Yeah.
And I want the difficulty to be there too, right? I feel like in other AC games, it's not been there. I want it to be challenging. I want to have a reason to use a parry system rather than just hack and slash my way through things. Or give me the option to do both, right? But what I thought was cool, my biggest thing was that you can choose between the two characters for missions. It seems like you can do that for every mission, if I recall correctly. Maybe someone correct me.
They said almost. I think there's maybe intro missions
almost.
with both and things like that.
Yeah, where they have to be for this story bit or they have to be for another story bit. I can definitely see. But like going through and experiencing each mission from a different play style seems kind of dope. Like this was the more shinobi stealthy style, right? Like, and obviously Yasuke is the more samurai, but he's like brutal samurai. And I love that they have the freaking spiked club, right? To bash people in. Really here for it. Looks awesome.
God. Yeah, hell yeah.
Gage, do you have anything to say about this?
I haven't been excited about an Assassin's Creed since Odyssey. I know a lot of people were excited that Mirage went back to kind of some of the more linear elements of it. I hope they take some of the lessons of Mirage and bring that in here. Some more elaborate kind of set pieces and levels and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the big RPGs got a little rinse and repeat with the bases you take out and the just the kind of you just keep doing combat and keep looting stuff and just go to this next point, this next point, this next point. So I do hope there's a little bit more focus, and I hope that the story rules. And I'm really excited. I want to favor more stealthy stuff, so I'm wondering like if I don't want to be Yasuke as much, like is that gonna make it difficult on the missions that I have to be him? Like I'm interested about how that all plays out. But overall, I think this game is looking great, and I'm really in the mood for a good, big, juicy open world like action RPG. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to look for it, but I read that like I think 30-ish hours to beat this game.
Ooh, I like that.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
I don't know if that's
Perfect.
correct. It could be 30 or 60, but I know that like
Yeah.
obviously there'll be content for days if you want to take it that far, probably. But from what I read from a tweet, I could be wrong. It just seems like there's a little restraint on the length of the game, and that to me is
Yes.
absolutely attractive. You know why I don't play a lot of these open world games or start to and then lose interest is just because I'm a 5-minute gamer. That's what they call me, right? Because I don't
Yep.
want to play a game for 1,000,000,000 hours unless it's Elden Ring, of course. But that being said,
Yeah.
that being said, wow, I am impressed by this presentation. The music is badass, like this kind of Japanese hip hop vibe. It's
Yes.
incredible. I'm liking both of the characters and how completely different their playstyles are. Like this castle we see in this the showcase. I mean, how different would it have been to run in as Yasuke? Because she does all this ninja
Just
stuff.
bust open the doors, right? Like
Right, you
yeah.
just kick in and you're just like murdering all these guys. I mean, the way that she executes this person is by going into this little pond with like the breathing stick and then just kills them. I mean, as
So
Yasuke,
cool.
you would had to fight your way through an entire castle to get to that point. So, I mean, it's really cool. It gives you a lot of replayability for the game. And I'm just super impressed with Ubisoft this year, honestly.
Yeah, they got the goods. They actually have the goods this year. And I'm stoked too
Really?
that it seems like they're doing a little bit more attention to things like diegetic noise and lighting and seasons and all that stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking that'll hopefully add some cool, and even just like destruction. You see her like rip through some bamboo
And mobility,
stuff.
right?
Yeah, all of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also true.
So yeah, looking forward to it.
Love me some samurai shit.
Mhm.
All right. Next up, my game number 2, and I didn't know it was called this. I thought it was just called half of this title, but Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Mhm.
A little bit of a mouthful, but it's turn-based madness in the La Belle Époque, which is La Belle Époque is the twilight of the 19th century. 1890 to 1914 period in history characterized by the very rich's inability to deal with the grim reality of modern life, and as a consequence, their retreat into frivolous fairy tale kind of existence of their own making. That's just the definition of that period of time. So that's
Okay.
interesting. Kind of the like, third French Republic kind of vibes. And so I think this is just going to be like a really interesting, again, highlighting. I think a lot of these games are just highlighting new and interesting perspectives about different pieces, and this game just looked really cool. It's like turn-based, but it's kind of action turn-based, like a Super Mario RPG is, where there's like rhythm elements and kind of quick timing elements amongst turn-based combat. But the world just looks surreal and just really interesting. Also, something we missed during the showcase, but Ben Starr of Final Fantasy 16 is voicing one of the main characters.
Nice.
So that's cool. So we'll be finding my brother Joshua, and that's very cool.
This game looks wild. The combat, I guess I'll just jump in. Like, that's the big thing for me when I notice. It just looks unique as fuck. The combat style. So
yeah,
can't wait to see more.
Totally.
People said that the main guy kind of looks like what's his face from The Lighthouse. What's that? What's his
Willem
name?
Dafoe.
No, the other guy. The other guy, the Batman.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert.
Pattinson,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. The Pattinson man.
Batman.
It's beautiful too.
Yes, I wanted to call that out graphically. Again, look at these graphics, man. Incredible. But yeah, JRPGs, RPGs like this, I always kind of shy away from them because I just sort of get bored after over time. But it looks really active, and when you read the description of this game, it says blending like real-time elements with turn-based combat. So it doesn't look like it'll get stale to me, honestly, and it looks like
looks so slick, dude.
incredible.
Sorry, like
It does.
I can't say enough. Like,
It really does.
you know, if you're just listening to this, like, I encourage you to look at this dang trailer. Like,
Yeah, Claire Obscure, or just type in Expedition 33 and you'll find the video if you're looking for it.
And this interesting idea, the story has something to do with the fact that this like painter like paints a new picture every 100 years or whatever and kills everyone essentially, and they're trying to like essentially stop it. It's this big sort of like crazy fairy tale type of thing. This seems to be the 33rd expedition or something like that. Anyways, interesting. I have no idea where it'll go, but it seems to be sort of psychedelic and surreal, so I like that.
2025,
yeah,
man.
that's it. That's it for that. 2025 is gonna be a banger.
Hell yeah. My next one is obvious. It's Doom. Doom the Dark Ages, man. Holy shit. You gave me my game, id.
The ripping and the tearing.
You're doing the
ripping
thing.
and the tearing.
Graphically again, amazing. It looks incredible. They just shared a picture of Doom Guy, as we always call him, in 4K. He's looking badass. This one is set way in the past when Doom Guy was kind of first brought in by the people in heaven or whatever to kill demons and whoever they essentially saw as an enemy. If you play through Doom Eternal, you realize that like the people in heaven aren't so good and what they've been doing isn't so great. You know what I mean? And this puts you in the shoes of like the past of how they got to where they are, and this is all before Earth and shit. Like this is some crazy shit's happening. He's got a big old shield. Also a chainsaw. There's guns. People, when this kind of leaked, people are like, "Oh, it's gonna be like a melee Doom." I said, "How the hell would it be a melee Doom? Those two words don't really go together." I mean, yeah, there's a chainsaw in Doom, and yeah, you could hit people with melee attacks, but like, there's gonna be guns, and guess what? There's fucking guns, and you could throw the shield. I mean, this looks incredible, brutal. The music's insane. The game is hyping me the fuck up. I am ready to play this immediately. I did listen to someone talk about this, and they're sort of saying like how Doom Eternal was just a little too like there was too many systems kind of clashing. It kind of limited, the way you play the game because you're forced to like attack enemies with certain weapons or abilities and stuff like that.
what were those one guys that you had to parry weirdly and do like a 4 different attacks to even get to like damaging them?
Yeah, I can't exactly remember, but you had to use
it was almost a puzzle, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so like, I mean, I'd like that about Doom Eternal, like, but I kind of agreed to some degree. Like, Doom Eternal was great, but I can see us just playing a game where we're just killing shit, like boomer shooter style. And like, I'm sure there will be some elements still, like you probably will get healed if you get like a special type of melee execution and certain things will like give you ammo, like that kind of puzzly stuff I could still see remaining. But from what I'm seeing here, it is just brutal as fuck and badass, and I just cannot wait to get my hands on this game. And they basically, Xbox basically kicked off their showcase with this, and I was like, holy fuck, man, they're doing it, dude. This is insane to me. So that's
the
where I'm
laser
sitting with it.
dragon is so epic.
Yeah, laser dragon. I mean that's a sentence.
Yep. He gets into like a kaiju at some like a mech suit, like a Pacific Rim medieval mech suit. Sick.
Yeah, and it's coming next year as well. Steven, what do you think?
I think I could not be more excited for this guy, is what I'm going to say. And I think, they're going to take back the throne from the boomer shooters that have been coming out.
Yeah.
Because, like, they've kind of been eating the lunch a little bit, like, especially, Bolt Gun. Go play that game, first of all.
Oh, so good.
It just captured that, like, frenetic, fast, like, arcadey craziness. Like, you just want to go and destroy as much things as you can, right? And I hope it kind of reins it back in a little bit to that with this one. So
it has felt like a long enough time between the release of Eternal for them to be this far along with this game, for it to come out next year. So they've been cooking, dude. They've been like, oh yeah, all these cool boomer shooters. The king is back, baby, and we're seeing that on full display here. So I don't know. I'm ready to play it.
Also the flail. I
Yes.
wanna feel that flail connect with somebody. Yeah.
Man.
Like just stick in someone's head for a second. Yeah.
Rest in peace to Gundam Evolution really quick. Just got to say that because there was a flail on one of the Gundams. Anyway, let's not talk about that. I'm still sad.
The parry, let's go. Well, shout out to spoilers for our indie showcase thing. Looks like you're gonna have a good mech game to maybe take its place pretty soon.
Maybe, yeah.
That looks epic. I'm very, very excited about it. Steven, your final pick of the showcases.
All right, let's try this again. Game 3 is Perfect Dark. Now,
Nice.
Now, what I wrote here is, are you freaking kidding me? This is giving me Deus Ex meets Mirror's Edge in all the best ways. And it seems to have like a trippy kind of weird side to the story as well, which is awesome because that's what the N64 kind of did. And that's why I loved it. Shout out to Elvis the Alien, you know?
Yep.
Never forget.
Totally.
And also, like, you know, there's wall running. The gadgets look awesome. It's so goddamn pretty. Like, the gameplay looks smooth as fuck. Like, yeah, let's go. Come on, Joanna, let's go.
Yeah. Fuck all the haters out there. All those, like, Gamergate 2, like, losers who are talking about her jawline or something. I mean, she looks great. She looks like she can beat your ass. Just saying.
Exactly.
You losers. Sorry.
Right?
It's foolish. It's some foolish shit.
Look at
This game was such a surprise. We didn't even necessarily see it. You know, there was all those reports about trouble in Paradise, but it seems like, you know, the game just needed some time and some collaboration with it's not Eidos, it is Crystal Dynamics. Funny that you said that Eidos was helping on Fable and that Crystal is helping on this, because I would think the two would switch with Tomb Raider and with Deus Ex, but never.
Well, yeah, Deus Ex, you know, they have more narrative chops, I guess, with the writing. Maybe that's what, and because, like, you know, Playground does great car games and great systems that are really fun to engage in, but the writing I've always kind of was a little bit janky.
Papa Fernando. Don't get me started on that shit.
Oh my god, yeah. So yes, if they're lending their effort that way, I can definitely see this. You know,
No, yeah.
Crystal's always been the Tomb Raider third-person action kind of kicking ass there. So,
yeah, and then just a tiny bit of background on why Crystal Dynamics is helping in the first place. The guy who started the studio that's making this game used to be in Crystal Dynamics and already, like, had a relationship with a lot of people there, and they were collaborating with other people. It wasn't working out, so they just straight up brought Crystal Dynamics on. So I just find it kind of interesting and kind of funny that he, like, left Crystal Dynamics and then he's just making another game with Crystal Dynamics. But all that being said, as much as we saw troubled development, or what seemed to be troubled development for this game, holy fuck, look at this. This looks incredible. I'm totally impressed. I'm glad that it's in the state that it's in, and I can't wait to get my hands on this as well.
Yeah, amazing.
2025? They didn't give a date for this one, did they?
I don't think so.
No, I
Fast
think
forward a
they
little.
did.
Let's see. Perfect dog.
Was it 2025? Because
Yeah, no
I
date.
don't remember seeing anything on it. Yeah.
No date. All right.
So,
But
That could be a
nevertheless,
2026 game, and that's fine. Like,
that's totally fine.
yeah. I mean, we have so much coming next year.
Yeah, I think everyone was just excited to see that here, right? So
Yeah.
all right, my final game next, is that right? Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, so this is a little interesting one. My next game is Avowed from Obsidian. I'm saying don't sleep on Obsidian. Now, this was, I would say the showing at Xbox's showcase was brief and more of just another little tone piece. I would say it wasn't the best showing that it's had at the showcase itself, but mostly what I'm going off of is later in the week, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, they did a deep dive podcast on the Xbox Wire with Tina Meany, and I'm sorry, I forget the other co-host. And they dove into more of the combat and skill trees, and they kind of walked you through this one particular area of the game, and talked about some of the systems and how you're leveling up and that kind of stuff. And it really, really was like, oh, this is an Obsidian game. Like, this is all about choice, the way that you approach a level. Like, so I think these are going to be big open areas. similar to the way that the Outer Worlds was, where you kind of go to a hub area and then it's a big level that is very explorable. You know what I mean? Not like a level like where it's one thing, but like it's a big mini open world that you're gonna take on, and there's kind of a main objective and then maybe some cool side quests and stuff like that. But I think you're gonna kind of be traveling through these different sections of the Forbidden Lands, I believe they're called. Yeah. And then moving on. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah,
Well,
no, this is this year's deep dive.
Because
But
I found
interestingly
it.
enough with this,
Oh, I see.
like, but
Sorry.
interestingly enough, that aside, right, is like
Mm.
this is in the Pillars of Eternity universe, right?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think about, but yeah.
Hmm.
Totally. And I just think all the mix of combat and magic they were doing, the different ways that they showed 2 different ways to approach just one mission, and they were so wildly different. One of which being the main boss that you could maybe fight during this mission just ends up having a conversation with you and like flirting with you and then giving you the thing that you want, as opposed to you having to like hack and fight your way through and like take on this big like ancient being thing. You know what I mean? So I just love that. And then they kind of like were struggling against some enemies and then showed how you could like spec to like better combat them and things like that. And then they showed a lot of different like character dialogue trees, and how you could like either sneak through a level or bash your way through a level. And there was all these really cool systems. And I just think that we're not going to be disappointed. I think the art style has taken a few different turns and that's kind of thrown people, but I think in the end we're gonna really like this game.
Yeah, I think it looks really colorful, really unique. There was a couple of screenshots they released, I think the same day that this deep dive came out, that looks really cool. Like there's a lot, like the lighting with the like the fog system made it look amazing, and just what we're seeing here is just again, I'm talking about graphics today, looking graphically dope. But the systems that they went over, like that you can essentially build your own character. There's like different trees of skills, like fighter, ranger, or like wizard, and then as well as like godlike, which is like it's like your dragonborn if you're thinking Skyrim tree. Yep. Essentially. It just seems like you're gonna be chock full of like spells and abilities that you can mix and match, and and then it's got that like feel of like Baldur's Gate with your companions and like how you can interact with them or listen to them interact with each other, like at the party camp and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to this game because it's gonna have a lot of character, but it's still gonna be just a dope like fantasy game in that like Bethesda / Obsidian style, which we're not getting from Bethesda right now. Which is great.
My most anticipated game, even though it's eons out, my kid will be in 6th grade by the time that it comes out, but is Elder Scrolls 6, and if this is going to tide me over and scratch that itch a little bit, I'm very excited.
Yeah, this will bridge that gap.
Hell yeah. That's my 3rd game.
Nice. Is that me? Am I next?
That's you, bro.
One?
Finish
Cool.
it out.
All right, so yeah, man, Star Wars Outlaws, right? Wow.
Imagine that.
Just wow. So we're a Star Wars house, but like it hasn't felt like we're a Star Wars house for a while because I just kind of don't care anymore, and I hate to say it. I watched a lot of the shows and stuff, but then I just stopped watching them because it got too much. Like I have to watch this show and that show and this show. I have to watch all of Clone Wars to know what the fuck's going on, and I don't know. And then the sequel trilogy wasn't that great, and it's just like, I don't know. Back in the day, I was reading the books, the extended universe. I was playing all the games. I was like obsessed with Star Wars. And I know we have a couple good ones with those Jedi Survivor and stuff, which I am kind of in the middle of playing that. And like, I'm not saying those are bad. It's just, am I rushing in? Am I like obsessed with it? Not so much. And I don't really know what it is. I just kind of, maybe it's fatigue. I don't really know what it is, but then I watched this showcase, this breakdown of this video game, and it's like, finally we have something kind of new and interesting that you can play as a video game. I mean, with these Jedi Survivor games, it's still Jedi shit, And like Jedi shit's cool, but I mean like this is new. Like this you really feel a part of it. Like if you're a Force user in Star Wars, I feel like you're a step above the universe. Like you're in a different class. Like you don't feel as grounded or like as part of the world. Like Luke Skywalker had friends and stuff, but he was like doing shit. Whereas like, what's the regular people doing? And Gage, I know we talked about how Andor was great with that. That was the good thing about Andor. And this like to me gives me those same vibes. Like it's gonna be more of a grounded story. You're a scoundrel like lady, character dealing with all of the underbelly, like, roguish characters, all of the criminal syndicates, which have always been interesting, but haven't really been like fully explored beyond like the books and maybe like the Solo movie. I mean, everything about what they showed at the Ubisoft Forward for Star Wars Outlaws just blew me away. Like the planets look great. I mean, it's open world, so yeah, you'll probably have a checklist fest, right? But I mean, there's also like space combat, and the space combat to me, I mean, you compare that to Starfield, this looks incredible.
Better.
This looks way better, way more fun. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm not going to just be like slowly drifting around and getting shot. Like, I can just like do flips and do crazy shit. I mean, this looks amazing. And graphically, again, just like Assassin's Creed Shadows, it looks great. And you have a cute little friend, you have a speeder, you know what I mean? You're like going around. You can like play like mini games, dude. You can gamble in Star Wars. I mean, when the fuck could we have actually played like Sabacc or whatever in any video game? You know?
Yeah.
Are we gonna be able to get like death sticks? You think is that gonna be a thing?
That'd be awesome.
That's hilarious.
You're like, hold on, I need a death stick real fast. 1 second.
Or like spice, right? Spice will probably be in there. Like,
that's true. You'll probably run some spice.
Possibly.
Yeah, things about all the complaints and formulaicness that people have complained about Ubisoft types of the Ubisoftation of the open world games is totally valid in a lot of ways, but we still have never had it for Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the modern era, all we wanted was that Amy Hennig game, the Star Wars 1313 game that got canceled. All the canceled Star Wars games were this game in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? And I heard Greg Miller talking about how there's portions of the demo that he played that were very much Uncharted, where it's a set piece and things are happening and quick time events are happening and you're jumping on your speeder and then it cuts to a cutscene and then it cuts back to gameplay. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then other times you're just going to be hunting bounties and just going to a cool place and talking to stuff. And then my favorite part of Star Wars has always been, what's that dude in the back doing? Or what is this weird creature that lives on this planet? Or what is this weird, why are the sand people the way they are? Whatever. Like, and so I like just living in this world that has weird shit going on around you. And I think we're going to get a lot of that flavor and character from this world,
Totally. And yeah, again, the little guy that follows you around is cute.
Yeah.
It looks like an axolotl.
It does.
I forget what his name is. I knew it before, but
it's like
Nix, I believe.
Oh, there you go, Nix. I was gonna call him Pete because that's just funny. It's not right.
I'll call mine Pete for you.
What's up, Pete? But yeah,
this game looks rad, man. Like, it's what I want. I don't want any more Jedi stuff for a little bit. I think I might be over full on that. I hit the Jedi meat wall, right? The figurative one, right? Because we just have so much of it, like, and there's so much of the Star Wars universe that we've not actually been in and been able to experience, right? So, I mean, look at this. You're beating up aliens with your fists.
Rhodians, yeah.
It's incredible. Everything about this looks cool.
Yeah, like what you guys were touching upon, the Jedi stuff, like, this Jedi story was the idea was Luke Skywalker. It is that hero's journey. It is that good against evil ultimate, power thing, right? And you can only play with ultimate power so much. You know what I mean? Like ultimately OP characters get boring after a certain time, and they're also kind of goody two shoesy, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's like I'm ready for the other parts of this universe to shine. So yeah.
I mean, and they talked about it in the showcase, so it's not a spoiler, but like, it seems like the ultimate plot of this game is like, you're gonna do a big heist. You know what I mean?
Dope.
That's cool. This is a heist movie video game, essentially. That's
so cool.
fucking cool. And you could decide which of the syndicates to work for, and like your relationships will develop as you choose who to help and what to do. I think that's really cool. If you're like, what, I don't want to work for Java, so I'm gonna fuck over Java at every at every chance. Or you could screw over Java later, make him think you're like working with him, and then like screw him over or something like that. They're saying stuff like that, but then there's all these other syndicates you can work for, and it's just really cool. Just really cool showing. I'm so excited for everything.
Me too.
Mhm.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, that is our selection of 3 pillars of gaming that we saw in the last 10 days or so. So much to look forward to. 2025 is going to be looking great. Later this year is looking great. Like, this is coming, that's coming out in August, if we didn't say so. Happy birthday to me. It's August 30th, so 5 days after my birthday, I will be enjoying that quite a bit. Yeah, lots to look forward to. This year has kind of filled out, and certainly next year has really started to become tangible, which is really what this type of thing is all about. So thank you guys for joining me and bringing games and information and opinions to this NeOn topic discussion. If you like what you saw here, please give us a like and subscribe. It helps us show up and have more people check it out, which is what we were looking to do, is share all this fun stuff with more of you on the internet. So youtube.com/@NeOn Pocket Dimension is our main channel. And then if you want more game specific stuff, youtube.com/@NeOn Gaming Dimension. And also follow us on Twitter, and you can find all of our stuff and announcements on when it's going to happen. That's @NPD Squads. We'd love to have you and say hey. Give us a comment down below. Tell us what you think of what games you are most looking forward to that you saw at these summer showcases. For Jacob and for Steven, love you guys.
Love you too. And
Love
I love
you.
you for watching. Ah! Bye.